going on? Good morning if you're on the East Coast. Good evening if you're on the West Coast. It's your boy Mike, and we are back for another fun-filled episode of March Madness. For those of you who are new to this, I'm just going to remind you again, this is a daily occurrence here for the entire month of March, where you get to ask any questions, sports-related or non-sports related, to me and whoever else may be attending. And what we'll do is we'll answer all your questions as honestly as possible. All right. So make sure you guys are here. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Let's get this thing started. We got the first question here from my man DJ Malone. He says, "Good evening, my fellow faithful. How's it going?" Thank you for asking, DJ. So far, so good. Absolutely no complaints. All right. He says, "How was your day?" My day was all right. It was interesting. Some things happened, kind of knocked me off my normal flow, I'll say. And so it kind of disturbed me a little bit at work, but we'll see. Tomorrow will be a better day. All right. Tomorrow will be a better day. He said, "What did y'all have for dinner?" This man loves some food. All right. I had a fried rice with stir fry vegetables. Stir fry vegetables with a little bit of beef in it. With a little bit of beef. Not a lot. A little bit of beef. All right. It says, would it be smart to binge watch the combine as well as make a wish list for the draft? I know a lot of people wish they could see it live and sit at home and, really do a full breakdown of it all. But you know what, man? The truth of the matter is watching it really doesn't serve much of a purpose. They go back and they change things up. You watch the 40 and they give you the unofficial times, and the real times are not usually close to what it is. And the official times take a lot longer to come out than you watching the programming. There's certain things that certain drills you'll watch for certain position groups. You'll get more information from them from the 40 time. But, opportunity plus system, just like with quarterbacks, it makes all the difference in the world. All right. So I'm not going to tell you not to watch the combine. But you definitely, when you watch it, just, grain of salt type of thing, okay? Grain of salt type of thing. You want to look for traits, but the traits that you're looking for are really going to mostly come from film, from going back and watching these guys. What I recommend doing is this. Find a draft guide, look for players that are going to be available third round and later, and then go watch highlights of them. If you don't like the highlights, don't waste time. After you do watch highlights, pick a random 2 or 3 games, watch the series that they're in, whether it be defensive or offensive series, and just form your own opinion. That's my suggestion. That's the way I go about watching things. If you don't want to look at all the draft prospects, find a draft guy, look at where those guys are placed, so that way you're not wasting time watching first and second round guys when the Niners don't have a shot at getting them at all. All right. DJ Malone to double up here. He says, "Do y'all think Eddie would have hired Kyle's dad after the 94 Super Bowl if Seifert retired?" Whew. That's a good question. I don't know for sure, but he did have a thing for innovative offenses and things like that. It's possible. It's very possible, right? How do you guys think we would have fared if we had Mike Shanahan instead of Steve Mariucci? We probably would have won a little bit more. I think, it's easy to, look at Denver and things like that and say, see, we could have done that. But we also have seen some of the, dare I say, failures of the Shanahans. But, they kind of got a little pass because of where they were with those failures. So I'm not quite sure. Happy to see Milo in here. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks for watching. Says, "Yo, what's up, buddy? What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well." All right. He says, "Did you watch the Kaepernick series? And if so, what did you think?" You're talking about the Colin Kaepernick Netflix special. And I did not watch it yet. Let me know what you thought, though. Respond in the chat here. Let me know what you thought of it. Is it worth me going to take a look at? I'll happily take a look at it if you tell me it was good. I will definitely go back and watch it. All right. Jamie says, "Would you trade Debo for a first-round draft pick?" This is a tough question for me, Jamie, because I would like to know who the quarterback is going to be first. If we're gonna go with Purdy, no, I don't think you should get rid of Debo. I think Purdy and Debo pair better than Purdy than Lance and Debo. But if you're just talking about the player by himself, would I give him up for it first? Yes, I would. I would. But I don't. I want what's best for the team, if we're being completely honest, and I don't think that giving him up necessarily is the best in the best interest for the 49ers. All right. DJ Malone says, mind if I throw a political question at you, Mike? Go for it. Do you think progressivism leads to communism and fascism? This is a funny question. In short, if I don't, it could, but it would take a lot of extreme ends of that to get there. How's that? Does that answer your question? Hopefully that answers your question. Emsley says, do you think Trey will be ready? Do you think Trey will really get a fair shot, or is this Brock's team no matter what Trey does, assuming Brock can play this year? Emsley, I was saying it for weeks prior to the season ending, heading into the playoffs and all that stuff. Everyone's like, oh man, if Brock goes out here and wins this game or that game, we got a new quarterback. And I said, look, guys, Brock Purdy can go out there and win a Super Bowl. I don't think this is Brock Purdy's team. And I got killed for it. And I told people, we've seen quarterbacks win the Super Bowl and just get flat out cut the following year, right? You go out, and I'm not saying that he's Trent Dilfer, right? But he managed the game really well for the Niners. He did. There was no times where he had to go above and beyond the system. He operated really well in the system. But I don't think that's what Kyle Shanahan is looking for out of his quarterback. I think Kyle wants some excitement factor. I don't think it's a coincidence that the offense looked completely different when it was Trey Lance's offense versus Jimmy Garoppolo's offense. So I don't think that's how it's going to work. I really don't think that's how it's going to work. I think this is Trey's team, and if there's a competition, it's to see if Brock can beat him out. That's what I think. I honestly think it's the other way around. Javi says, what position do you think we need the most this offseason, either free agency or draft? I'm going to go with a center. I think the 49ers really, really have to find their guy at center. And let me just say, I know you said free agency or draft. There might be an in-house answer. I'm not one of those guys that says, oh, this person didn't look good last year. They're a bust. Get rid of them. I believe in guys' growth. I was high on Aaron Banks coming from the time that we drafted him. I saw some flashes in preseason when he played left side and right side, right? And I thought that an offseason in the pros would really, really help him. And while everybody was ready to write him off, oh, no second-round pick played less than him in the history of the NFL, and this guy's a bust and blah, blah. Guys, he wasn't ever going to beat out Lincoln Tomlinson. That was never going to happen. Tomlinson was on the last year of his deal. This was his job to sit back and learn, and they just tried to see if he could play on the right side. They just tried it out. They just wanted to see if it was something possible that he could do. And once he didn't, all right, well, you're really the left side guy anyway, and he fills in and plays, in my opinion, above a Pro Bowl level this season. So I do think that the answer could also be here. But the biggest gap, the biggest hole that we need to fill is definitely the center for me. I think the center is the number one position that we have to get filled. All right. He said it was great. Give it a watch. I will do it. I will do that. Brandon, thanks for the questions here. He says, number one, what current player would you not be surprised if traded? For me, it's Ambry Thomas. Needs a change of scenery. Part of trading somebody is that person having a value outside of your team. All right. It's having a value outside of your team. Ambry Thomas isn't going to have too much of a value. I'm not saying that he's not worth trading for. I'm sure there's some teams that believe that they can get something out of him still, right? But what are you willing to give up for that? 6th, 7th? And if that's the case, it's probably not worth it for the 49ers. So you need a value outside of the team, and it has to be a value to the team receiving that pick. I would think a guy that is likely to be traded. I wouldn't be surprised if he was traded. Oh man, I'm supposed to be like keeping it 100%, right? I would say a guy like George Kittle. I would say a guy like George Kittle. I think that some teams might say, "Hey, we really need him. We really need him." And if he's the missing piece to a team, if he could be a security blanket for a struggling quarterback, and they feel like they can make a run, they can do a little bit more, right? Imagine George Kittle with the Eagles, changes that entire offense around, right? Not saying any like he would go there, or he wants to go there. Not saying I want him to go there, but there's a value outside. We would get good compensation. The Niners would let him go, and a team would want him. So that's my answer there, George Kittle. A lot of people just say, "Oh, this guy's not working out for us. Let's trade him." There's no market for him. So you got to keep that in mind. What player would you trade back into round one to draft? For me, it's Bryant Branch. I haven't started looking at draft prospects all the way, especially guys in the first or second round. Brandon, if you were in here when I was giving my suggestions or recommendations to the previous questions about draft and how to watch and who to watch and things like that, I said get a draft guide and start third round prospects because we're not up there. So I don't have an answer for you for that. Bottom of the first round guys, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you. If you want, I can get you one. I can look it up and try to get you one. But there's another reason it's hard for me to get into the draft just yet is because free agency comes first. And so I think that we have to keep that in mind. We can sit here and say, oh, we really need to trade up into the draft so we can go out and get a wide receiver, or we can go out and get a linebacker, or we can go out and get a right guard or a center. And then we could end up solving that in free agency. And then you wasted all that time thinking and putting that energy into it. And that's not something that I do at this point in time. All right. Who is your free agent crush? This is a really good question. I have a couple of them right now. And if I had to go with just one, I got a list on my computer here. Hold on. Let me pull it up really quick. Let me see. Oh, man. There's a couple of good guys. Technically, y'all gonna think I'm funny. Technically, Lamar Jackson is still a free agent, right? I won't say him because I believe in Trey Lance. I'm not gonna say him. No, I won't say him either. You're a sweet strawberry wine. All right. If I could convince Orlando Brown to move to the right side, he would be the top of my list. Or trade Trent Williams and then sign Orlando Brown. And then with the money that you save in cap space, you open up a lot of stuff. Now, I don't know what it cost the Niners to trade Trent Williams. Orlando Brown was one of the guys that I really, really liked when he was a free agent not too long ago, right? And then everyone was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he ended up going and playing left tackle anyway. And I was saying that I don't know if you guys remember, he was a free agent at the same time that Trent Williams was being courted by the Niners for that extension. And I was like, just let him go. Let him go. It's okay. Let him go. And I wanted the Niners to go ahead and move on. And then my other one is going to also be an unpopular one because it requires moving somebody, right? So Mike Gesicki is my other one. Like I would try to keep George Kittle here, but Mike Gesicki is going to get a pretty penny on the open market. I imagine this offense with him and Kittle in it. Oh, freaking boy. Mike Gesicki was a draft crush that I had a couple years ago. So I'm going to say Orlando Brown or Mike Gesicki. All right. Tight end, Mike Gesicki. Hurd Banks was, I don't know what that means. All right. Also heard last pick. QB was, I don't know what that means. He might go Niners, go Buckeyes. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go. This is a good question. What veteran quarterback did you think we realistically sign who to replace a likely losing McGlinchey in free agency or draft. I think that McGlinchey's replacement is here in-house already. I don't think the Niners have to go outside the building to get McGlinchey's replacement. Now, who it is, I don't know for sure. All right. I don't want to give you any false hope or anything like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they go too far for someone. All right. And as far as a backup to, or, a veteran quarterback, someone that the Niners can bring in. So you have to remember that you want to bring in someone who is, you want to bring in someone who's not looking to stir and rock the boat too much, right? And oh man, there's a lot of really good names out there. Talent-wise, I would say Sam Darnold, right? Let him sit, let him learn the playbook. He's third string, but Sam Darnold is probably going to get another shot to be a starter somewhere, go somewhere and compete. All right. Jimmy Garoppolo would be a phenomenal third quarterback on your team, but he might not want to do that. All right. There's a couple of other names that are out there. Mike White wouldn't be terrible if you guys want to bring someone like Mike White in. I wouldn't hate that too much. I think he would operate really well in Kyle's system. Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton would be okay coming in as a third string quarterback. I don't know if he would want to step all the way back to 3 after being a 2 last year, but he would be a good guy. And then the last one, my like crush will be Tyler Huntley. I don't know if the Ravens are going to let him get away though. I don't know what's happening with their quarterback position. They're in a really, really weird spot. But Tyler Huntley is out there still. I mean, you could always go back to Nate Sudfeld too. So there's a couple of options there at the quarterback position. And guys, holy smokes, I am way over the 15-minute mark. I apologize about that. But thank you all. Guys, come back tomorrow night, same time, all right? Fire off those questions. I create the shows 10 minutes before the start time. So don't let DJ Malone be the only person that pops in early. Guys, be there early. Get your questions in, and I answer them all in consecutive order, in chronological order, all right? Thank you guys for checking us out. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon.